Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Grow With Me. I'm your host, Aziza. In this episode, we are going to talk about the power of focus. So, as always, before diving into this episode, I want you to grab your favorite drink, if it's a cup of coffee, cup of tea, cup of matcha, maybe fresh juice, wherever it is, all right? Bring it with you so that you start listening while enjoying your favorite drink. And as always, as you know me, we like to start the podcast with a question. So I want you to answer the question down below in the comments so that we hear more about each other's responses, thoughts, perspectives, things like that. So the question here says, do you feel like you are always busy, but you never finish anything? And do you start working on something and maybe 5 minutes later you start checking your phone or maybe you're doing anything except of your work? So this is actually the question. So what is your answer to this question? Like, do you actually find it very much difficult to concentrate on completing one thing? Or do you find it easy? If you find it challenging and difficult to concentrate on one thing, and you feel that you are always busy, whenever someone asks you, you says, "Oh, I am so busy today," but in reality, you are not able to finish one thing. Have you ever been in such situations? If your answer is yes, please let me know down below in the comments and why. Why do you feel so? However, if your answer is negative, if you don't have any problems, if you don't have any challenges, if you don't have any difficulties in completing your task, and if you are really busy completing your task without any issues, wow, in this case, I would love to know your your tips and tricks, and if you have some advice for us so that we can apply your advice in in changing the aspects of our strategy. So yeah, this is basically the question, all right? And for now, let's dive into this topic. Like when it comes to the power of focus, what does that mean? The power of focus is related to the ability to concentrate without being distracted, the ability to finish your work, the ability to continue like focusing with 100% without having any distractions, like without being distracted by your phone, by your colleagues if you work in the office, by your family members if you work from home or you study at home, by your schoolmates if you try to do your homework in school, things like that. So, this is the idea of power of focus, like yeah, it's like the power of concentration. So, to be honest with you, in today's world, the focus is actually something, I don't want to say something impossible because there are tons of people, there are millions of people who are able to concentrate, who are able to achieve their task with concentration. But I just want to say that in today's world, especially with what is happening around us, sometimes it is not easy to focus. Why? Because let's say, for example, you start focusing, you start concentrating on one thing, and all of a sudden you hear something related to um, I don't want to actually give the exact keywords, but I think you get what I mean. Like sometimes you are focusing on completing something, but all of a sudden you hear specific, like maybe stuff on on TV, maybe on YouTube, maybe on social media that distract your attention, or maybe that somehow change your mood or things like that. Especially nowadays with whatever happens around us. I think you get what I mean, right? It's just that I don't want to like come up with the exact keywords because I don't want any troubles. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure you get what I mean. So these are basically the kind of issues that might maybe distract our attention, or when it comes to friendship as well. Well, yes, friendship or friends or maybe relationships can even distract us. So instead of focusing on what we need to do, we end up crying maybe, we end up thinking, we end up being so stressed out by whatever um, your partner does, or maybe friends or things like that. So all these sources are considered as source of distraction. So yeah, one point that I want to tell you about, and by the way, I did some search on this topic so that I can somehow like collect the most important points to provide you with. The first point that I got, which is very surprising by the way, this point says multitasking is a lie. Wow. Can you imagine that? Like, really, multitasking is a lie. Honestly speaking, I grown up believing that multitasking is an amazing skill, and those who have this particular skill are powerful or maybe super powerful. Those who have this particular skill are wow. This is actually what I grown up believing in. But when I did my search, I found out that no, multitasking is actually a lie. Oh wow. And here they say, when it comes to your brain, like your brain can't actually do two difficult things at the same time. So this is what we need to be careful at, like two difficult things. It doesn't mean two simple things. When it comes to accomplishing or maybe or working on two simple things, okay, that's fine. It is possible to do a multitasking. Like it's possible to, for example, study and listen to music. That's fine. You are doing two different things. But when it comes to difficult things, what do I mean by difficult things here? Difficult things related to big tasks or maybe big projects. So in this case, I don't think it is possible to focus on completing one big task while listening to the drama of your colleague, for example, or maybe concentrating on one big task while checking what your boyfriend or girlfriend is disturbing you with on WhatsApp, for example. I mean, because I actually I have a lot of friends who experience that, like especially in studying or maybe in doing their research. I found them like really having a lot of stress trying to concentrate between what they are studying and with what their partner is sending them on the chat. And I found it like really stressing. Seriously. So this is just an example that I thought of sharing with you. So when it comes to doing one big task, you should not do something else um as well. You need to focus on completing that particular task that requires your attention or maybe your ultimate attention, and then you can move to complete the next one, or maybe if you want to take a break to solve the particular issue and then come back to complete your next task, your next big task. But try not to do two things in a time. But when it comes to like doing small tasks, I believe doing small tasks is fine. Like for example, as I said, studying while listening to music, or maybe working while listening to music, or maybe driving while talking to the person next to you, or maybe cooking while talking to the person in the kitchen, or maybe in the living room. Even though I find it really difficult, to be honest, to do that. Because in my case, when it comes to driving, I don't really like talking to the person next to me while driving unless we are on like on the traffic light. And even though when it comes to cooking, I find it really hard actually to cook while listening to like to my family members who can be in the kitchen or maybe in the living room. Even though actually my mom keeps on advising me every day, I would say, to have the ability to focus on cooking while listening or maybe talking to her. She keeps on telling me one thing, which is she keeps on advising me to like to do this. And she usually says, Aziza, you have your ears to listen and you have your eyes to look at what you are cooking. But honestly speaking, I find it really challenging to do that because, in my case, if I want to listen to my siblings or to my parents, I would have to like maybe stop cooking and turn to look at them while listening or talking. But it is not actually easy for me to cook and listen to them with my ears, even though it should be this way. But yeah. So yeah, so these are basically some of the examples that I showed. I mean, that I showed, sorry, that I thought, that I thought, I that I thought of sharing them with you. And yeah, so that is why when it comes to multitasking, you need to choose your task. This is really important. You need to choose your task. What do you want to start with? And I talked actually about this in one of the previous episodes. I said that when it comes to choosing your task, it is really recommended to start with big tasks and at the end of the day, do the small task. Because if you start with small tasks, your brain would automatically feel tired after completing them and start like somehow distracting you, where you find yourself not able to complete the big important task. So in this case, really, it's better actually to start with big task. And what you can do is that maybe you can spend a few minutes um, like choosing what task you need to start with. So, yeah, this is actually very important. The second point that I thought of sharing with you is deep work. What does that mean, actually, deep work? Deep work means working in a state of high concentration without any distractions. So, when it comes to distractions, the first um, thing that occurs to my mind is the phone. Actually, the phone is one of the biggest distractions. And not to forget colleagues. Let's say if you work in an office, like if you work in maybe in an open area, probably your colleagues might be talking about something and you automatically start like listening to what they are talking about, and you might even find yourself leaving your work to share your thoughts or maybe to join the conversation. So this can be a distraction. Another distraction can be maybe social media, or maybe yeah, social media is part of the phone actually. So anything that is connected to your phone is actually a distraction. So when it comes to focusing on something, you really need to have deep focus, really deep concentration. Personally speaking, when I start working, I usually need to choose the things that I want to focus on. This is one thing. And also I need to anticipate the number of hours that I need to complete something. And this is really important, by the way. So let's say, for example, I anticipate that maybe one task requires 3 to 4 hours, for example. In this case, I need to try to have a deep focus for 3 to 4 hours, but I'm not actually able to sit for 3 to 4 hours. No, no, no. I need to take a break, of course. Like, let's say, 45 minutes or 40 minutes of deep work, and then taking a break for 15 minutes, maybe, or 10 minutes to stretch myself, to stretch my arms, maybe to have a cup of coffee, maybe to check my phone if I want. I mean, things like that, and then I get back to my work. So yeah, I mean, you can do the same, and you are the one who can actually measure the amount of time you need to complete one big task. And by the way, when it comes to completing one big task, you don't need to complete that big task in one time, all right? You can divide it. Like, let's say, for example, today you can try to finish maybe few pages if possible, or maybe even one page if that is really challenging. And then the next day you complete to another page, and the day after, things like that. So you are the one who can anticipate, you are the one who can measure the amount of pages you need to accomplish, and things like that. The other thing is called killing the distraction. So just now we talked about the distraction that I mean, and also deep work. That if you need to have deep focus, deep concentration, you need to stay away from any distractions. And this point actually is kind of related as well because we call it killing the distractions. So you really need to kill the distraction. You really need to turn it off. Like, for example, your phone. Your phone is actually your biggest enemy of your focus. Because when we start working, I really don't know why, actually. So even for me, when I start working, I remember the messages that I need to respond to, or maybe I remember certain people that I did not hear anything from, or maybe I remember to do this and to do that. Like, seriously, I have no idea why I remember all these things when it's time to focus on my work. If you have the same kind of like challenge, please let me know down below because I don't want to feel that I'm the only person who experienced that. So yeah, and so this is the thing, like your phone is actually the biggest enemy. And so what you need to do is that you need to maybe put your phone, I mean, maybe you need to turn your phone off, but I don't think it is possible to turn it off. Maybe you can turn off the Wi-Fi, or maybe you can set your phone on maybe like on the do not disturb mode. I mean, things like that. In my case, actually, I turn off the Wi-Fi, really. And this is if I'm at home, and if I'm outside, like, and then I need to focus, I would just turn off the data on my phone. So this is the thing that I do. Sometimes I keep it silent. I keep it on a silent mode. I mean, so basically, these are the things that I do. But really, I do, as I told you, I do have that particular challenge of um sending people like I do. I mean, as I told you, like when I start working, my brain starts reminding me of the messages that are pending, or maybe the people that I need to check on. I mean, all these things. So this is actually my challenge, but I am trying to work on it. And another point, which is called the Pomodoro technique. What is actually the Pomodoro technique? Pomodoro technique is basically called, I actually found it and it says here the Pomodoro technique is a popular time management method developed by Francisco um, Guerrero. I hope I'm not pronouncing the name wrongly. Sorry, not Guerrero, like Cirillo in the late 1980s that boosts productivity by breaking work into focused 25 minutes intervals. So yeah, so basically this this technique actually helps. This technique actually is related to a 25 minutes intervals. And what does that mean? Like, let's say, for example, if you need to focus um, on completing your task, all right? Let's say your task requires maybe 2 hours, and you feel that the 2 hours are actually too long or maybe too challenging. So, what you can do, you can break it into parts. So, you can start with 25 minutes, work for 25 minutes, then take a break for 5 minutes. And after that, continue working for another 25 minutes and then take a break for 5 minutes. So this is what it means by the by the Pomodoro technique. And it actually works. This technique actually works, especially with those who have difficulties concentrating for maybe 1 hour long or maybe 2 hours long. So you can just break it. Like you can break it like break the duration of your focus in between. And this method actually keeps your brain fresh and helps you finish big tasks without feeling overwhelmed. Seriously, like it is really great actually to do that because the most important thing is not to feel overwhelmed. We don't want to be overwhelmed with our task. I actually experienced that some time ago with my study. The thing is that, honestly speaking, I enjoy studying. I enjoy doing my research. I enjoy to the maximum level. But there are times where I felt really tired. I mean, mentally tired and challenged as well to complete things. So what happened is that I felt really like overwhelmed and it like instead of taking like just maybe a short time, let's say instead of taking maybe 1 or 2 days to complete something, it took me even 1 week or more. Why? Because I felt overwhelmed. Excuse me. um I felt overwhelmed. So this is what it means actually. And yeah, so this is basically what it means by the Pomodoro technique. And yeah, so these are the points that I thought of sharing with you. And I hope these actually these points are beneficial and effective. If you have questions related to what I shared with you, you are very much welcome to ask me down below in the comment section. And if you have your perspective or if you have your thoughts regarding any of the points, you are very much welcome. And also, if you have um, other topics that you want me to talk about, please let me know in the comments as well. So, yeah, these are basically everything I thought of. And before saying goodbye, I just want you to remember one thing. Your focus is your most valuable thing. So try to stop giving it away for free to social media, to any source of distraction. Try to focus on your goal, and the result actually will come. Really, the result will show. It might not be immediately, but it will happen. And this is the most important thing. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for um for everything, for your support, for everything. And again, if you have anything, if you have questions, if you want to share something with me, you are always welcome to do so. So again, thank you so much, and I wish you a wonderful day, and I will be looking forward to having you the next time, which is tomorrow. Have a great day and take care. Bye bye.